What's up, guys? Good morning. So it's Tuesday morning. I took yesterday off and didn't do any napping, or I did some napping, but not the Flint kind. So, but I have been laying there all night thinking about these pieces of Roy Miller Flint Ridge out here, and I am gonna have to hit one of them. So which one should we pick here? There's a whopper there. I'm going to save him for later. Really like that one. People are afraid of these pieces because they have seams in them, but Roy they usually don't make the cut if the seams aren't healed, so you can usually work through the seams. And Roy has done enough of this. He knows how to tell if they're healed or not, I'm sure. So this is kind of a rough looking one here. He's got $8 on it. People passed it by all weekend and left it for me, so let's see if we can make something out of this one. All right. Let me see. I just bought another bopper because this one's about shot. There it is. I wanted another one to use on finer work and just keep this one for the rough stuff. I've got it. You can see how much it's deformed and stretched out there. Still works fine. It's just getting thin from where I've filed it, not thinking about it, how thin that cap is. So I'm almost through that copper to the lead in there. Looks like that copper gets thin, it grabs even better because it's thinner and softer, and that lead under there grabs the edge. But these new ones will work good too. Beautiful. So these are the end piece. Actually, this is just a spall. It's not even made it to the saw at all. Hey, that rhymed. It's a spall. It hasn't made it to the saw at all. And some of them that he's got, they're flat on one side and they've got the end cuts. I'm gonna let y'all in on a little secret. That's where all the good color is, right under that cortex. A bunch of guys just said, no, man, don't tell them that. Been getting those end cuts for years. So all I'm doing right now is just trying to thin this thing down and get it leveled out. I know I gotta at least take this stuff down up here. I've got some of those percussion slabs over there. I can show you guys how I do those, or how I did them when I was working with them for a few months. Before I started making videos, I went and seen Roy about 3 or 4 different times and loaded up. You gotta be careful with this stuff, man. It flakes so nice. You can very easily take too much. Okay, so it looks like there is a seam right in here going down in that way, and that's just probably where that flake dove and didn't release down there, so need to get rid of that. I think the bearings just went out of my fan. Don't realize how noisy that thing is until you turn it off. Okay, so thinness is not going to be a problem, it looks like. Already getting thin. I want to go ahead and flatten this side off real good before I flip it over. Take some shorter flakes and try to start building some convexity over here. Whoops. And it's pretty stone. I got to meet a couple people I've been really enjoying looking at their work. Justin Eldridge I met at Flint Ridge. It was really nice to meet you, Justin, if you happen to watch this. Justin is a magnificent napper. They were doing the 10-minute challenge, and people were making Snyders and leaf blades and stuff, and Justin went ahead and made a double fluted Clovis. It was like, holy moly. That was not ideal, but I'd rather it let go now than later. Alright, so I can put my base here, or my tip here and the base down here. Looks like that'll probably work out okay. If I can get this stuff flattened out down here. The problem with one of those flakes when they dive like that, well, one problem is they can put a fracture in there, or they can just cut the whole piece in half. But the other problem is they take the surface down so low that you gotta remove all the rest of the stuff to get down to that level. So let me just step down to another smaller bopper here. That'll force you to take smaller flakes. If you get to where you're kind of removing too much too fast, you just step your tool size down. Alright, so let me go ahead and get my tip established here. When you're trimming an edge like that, if you kind of skip around, it'll automatically leave you the contours that you need on the other side. It'll make raised areas along the contours of that other back side. You don't even really have to, a lot of times you don't even really have to look at what you're doing. You just, if you're just trimming, you know, and raising the edge, just bounce around a little bit and skip around. It'll leave you ridges on the back. Instead of just having a flat contour, which is fine too. You can always work your way into that. I'm going to try to get some nice, like, cleaning flakes to clean the surface and smooth everything out. Got to meet Jim Redfern just for a second. I just got to talk to him. I bought some rock off of him, but he wasn't at his booth, and I actually bought it. The guy who took care of me that was next to him, I think he might have been up at the auction or something. But I did get to shake his hand and meet him before I left on the way out. The same thing with Justin. If y'all haven't checked out Seth Carl's YouTube channel, I hooked up with Seth last week and he took me to some spots, and he's got a YouTube channel that he finds artifacts on. It's called Tennessee Valley Relics, and he finds some of the nicest stuff of anybody in the country, I think. I actually made it on his last video. I said, man, I done made the big time now. Where am I going to go from here? My life is complete. I made it on a Seth Carl arrowhead hunting video. Seth's a really good guy. A lot of people accuse him of finding those pieces and planting them or whatever, and I'm here to tell you that ain't the case. He just finds a lot of stuff, and he don't film them little brokes and dinks. Oh no! He just films the good ones. Yeah, that was probably going to happen before long anyway. Crystal pocket in there got me. That's okay, I'll still make a couple smaller ones. Let me go ahead and grab another one though. Get a slab this time. Man, my Dr. Pepper's sweating bullets. Excuse me. Okay, this ought to be a good one. Kind of glad that happened though. So you guys watch out for them little crystal pockets. They'll make a piece break when it shouldn't. Okay, so I'm going to try to make my mind up what I want to do here right away. Let's just try to make a dovetail. I'll use this as my base, that is my tip. So, but anyways, yeah, so Seth, his channel is called Tennessee Valley Relics. Tennessee Valley Relics. And you can find him on Facebook and YouTube and stuff. You find some killer stuff. He just found a broken greenbrier the other day that about made me cry for him when I seen him pick it up. On the video, it had little micro serrations. He said a lot of them have needle tips when they're like that. He said that one, anyways, probably would have had a needle tip. Greenbrier is a paleo type transitional piece. Okay, just taking a few thinning strikes, big ones from down on the base here before I get started. I don't want to lose too much length. It takes very little force to remove flakes from this stuff. Alright, let me get out here in the open here. Try to shape this thing up here real quick. Even now, I'm still supporting this thing well, pulling it in a straight line. If y'all haven't tried that, you really need to, because it'll take your breakage rate down big time. Just supporting the piece in your hand and pulling it in a straight line in this way. And support the leading edge too. I don't really talk about that very much, but I'm not just supporting the flakes out here. You know, I'm supporting the leading edge, the front edge from falling down. So you know, you need to take that into consideration. Some short flakes, trying to build some convexity on this side here. So what I'll probably do, turn this edge up here. Try to get this side good and cleared off with nice convexity, and then I'll flip it over and maybe finish this other side. You can do it either way. You can do the flat side first or last, or however you want to do it. But sometimes when you save it for last, it's hard to clear all the saw marks off. But with this stuff here, it flakes so well, you don't have to worry too much about that. Just going down, spacing my flakes out. And try to remove some mass off here and take some good flakes in. Should be able to get one right through there. You can see that pretty color right underneath that cortex there. That's another thing with this stuff. You really never know what's going to be inside the stone. I've opened them up when they're blank looking like this with just, one or two colors. And they'll be green and blue inside and all kind of stuff. Because a lot of times the stuff, when he heat treats it, it kind of mutes the colors on the surface, I think. And you get in there, they brighten back up. I wouldn't be able to come back and remove this mass on these ridges if I hadn't spaced my flakes out. And left myself those contours. Oop. Did I get you? All right, this thing's pretty. It's gonna be a pretty one. They're all pretty when they come from Roy Miller. need to try to get rid of this. I got a step fracture right here, so I'll take a couple flakes in, work my way into it, and try to remove it from coming back from this direction. Hit on top of that bump right there. Messed it up. I'm not gonna go chasing after it right now. Although I could probably get it from right here. Alright, so I'm gonna put surface support over top of all that mess there with my finger. I'm going to press down and pull back when I hit it. I want my platform to be high because my bulb's got to undercut all that stuff. So let's try it. When you push down on the surface and you pull back, it helps that crack undercut that stuff and race through there. Did really good. Okay, so I've got good convexity over here, and the surface is cleaned off pretty well, so I'll flip it over and now we'll work on this flat side. Isolated this spot here, so now I'll be able to remove some of this mass, hopefully with a flake. There we go. I'm just going to go through and take some short ones, just kind of aiming for about 1/3 of the way across. Spacing my flakes out. Kind of angling these in at a diagonally to keep them from just going all the way across and staying and making it flat. Still, it'll help you build convexity sometimes when you put your flakes on an angle. is when you can start getting those real pretty flakes. Whoops. I was able to get that with that flake. It spread out and got that step fracture off there. All right, where are we at? 32 minutes. Okay, I'll just do this as Flint Ridge biface. Or should I finish it out? Man, these videos been taking so long to upload when they're long. You know what? I got a new pressure flaker I need to try out. Let's go ahead and do some pressure work on here. Well, I kind of need to clear these rest of that stuff off there. The saw marks. That was a good shot. Dang, I couldn't do that again if my life depended on it. I cleared that whole side in two flakes. I got a little spot right here. 3 flakes. Alright. Yeah, let's try my new flaker out. I got one of these twist lock ones. So instead of having to do the set screw, you just twist it and you can adjust it that way. Nothing better than using a new tool. I'm gonna back y'all up here a little bit. Zoom you in. So I'll just run through and kind of regularize the edge with my pressure flaker. I'll go first pass with the pointing towards me, the tip pointing towards me. Probably should have bought me another Ishi stick. Actually, I did last night. I ordered one and a short hand tool from the Larry Marshall. They're called the Nakishi sticks. Nakishi. Nakishi. I made my order, and then I was like trying to figure out who Larry Marshall was. So I went to his Facebook page, or I looked him up on Facebook, and I seen a post on there that was like from August 25th or something about, and it must have been obviously a different Larry Marshall, because it said, "We will miss you dearly, Larry," and he had a picture of him sitting at this bar, and I was like, "Oh no, man!" And then I had talked myself into thinking I had heard it. Somebody else say that he had passed or something, and I was like, daggone, so they're probably not even, and I'd already paid for my purchase online, so I sent a message, an email, and I said, "Hey, I'm so sorry, I didn't, I just realized that Larry had passed recently, and are you guys still shipping?" And they sent me a message back about an hour later and said, "I'm happy to inform you that Larry is still alive and well." I was like, "Oh no, man, I'm so sorry. I got mixed up." But these Ishi sticks, I've seen other people use them. I know I think Marty Smith uses one. They're white, and they've got an aluminum insert that goes in the end of them that is, I guess he machines down. It's like 5 inches long, and it can be extended in and out like 3 inches, and then it comes down to a cone. So there's your working tip is out here, and you're not your visibility and your movement aren't constricted by a big fat end and just a little piece of rod sticking out. It's made to where it comes out further. You guys will see. I'm sure I'll have it in a week or two. I'm sure some of y'all have seen those. They're a little pricey. It was $100 for the Ishi stick, 2 inserts, and the handheld one, which shares the 2 inserts with the other Ishi stick. So you get 2 inserts, which can be switched around. They take like 8 different tips, but one of them's for like 8 gauge wire, and one of them's for 6 gauge or whatever, and they're made to fit a 16 penny box nail, and they look really nice. So I went ahead and ordered one. I don't mind paying a little extra money for especially tools, just like construction, I'd rather have the good stuff. I'm a Milwaukee guy. I was going to do all that with pressure, but I think I can do a lot of it with this small percussion. This stuff flakes so easy, it's just crazy. Beautiful. Ow! Mm. Oh, I missed you so much, Flint Ridge. I had no business snapping this stuff when I went and got my first couple loads. But you gotta learn somehow. Might as well get the good stuff. Yeah, quite a bit's changed since I napped this stuff last time. Tell you what though, knapping this Flint Ridge really helped me sell some points in the beginning and really boost my confidence enough to be able to keep on trucking it. People really like the pretty stuff, especially Roy's pretty stuff. So I know it really helped me move a lot of pieces in the beginning. Should quit while I was ahead. There we go. All right. This is a new pad as well. You probably noticed. Pressure pad. They come with this little slot in there, and I usually open that up a little bit more out here in the center to let that flake, to keep it from stepping when it hits the rubber. Getting there. Just switched over to my ishy stick here. Okay. Keep up with our base down here and not let it get out of hand. All right, getting pretty close. The base is still a little bit thick. Not too bad. I'm just going to run a few more pressure flakes. You gotta be careful running them up from the base. These are the ones that always get little fingernail steps on me. A lot of thickness in there still. It's not horrible though. I need to get a couple more. Maybe not. Maybe I can do it. I'm going to take a flake from the edge here to try to thin that out just a little bit more in there. There we go. That worked pretty good, taking that one flake up above and then moving down. It really allowed that flake to run in there and thin that out a lot. Probably should have did it on separate sides. I should have just thinned it out before I started notching, but it actually worked out pretty good. Let's see if we can get a punch notch. Man, it's still really thick right there. Let's see if I can get one to go. I'm still going to do a punch notching video, but I'm still trying to figure some stuff out. So like the glancing blows, there's something to do with that it works really good. I haven't figured out what about it makes it help, other than it doesn't drive the piece through the notch, and you're not worried about breaking it that way. When you just glance off, you'll notice a lot of people when they punch notch, they do that. Uh-oh, that's okay. Still good. Button base. That was a little much. Let's see if I can work my way back in here. Yeah. Man, I wish I hadn't got in that far over here. Back on it. Well, let's see. I might have to shorten it up and start over, but we shall see. Get my new horseshoe nail flaker. I don't think it's going to work out very well.